Good evening. On behalf of the Hilliard InterSchool Parent-Teacher Organization, thank you for joining us for our Meet the Candidates event. A special welcome to Superintendent Stewart, current board members, and other district leaders. I am Tara Rowe, President of Hilliard ISPTO. The InterSchool PTO is made up of representatives from all schools in the district. All of our members are volunteers. ISPTO hosts this event to provide valuable information to our community about the candidates for the Hilliard City Schools Board of Education. This year, 3 candidates are running for 3 open positions. All 3 certified candidates were invited to participate and are joining us tonight. Let me introduce them. Sarah Byler, Kara Crowley, and Tony Moog. I'd like to review the format for this Meet the Candidates event. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening comments. A moderator will be asking the questions during the event. After each question, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question. We will alternate who answers first. We have timekeepers to help candidates know the amount of time remaining. The questions tonight have been compiled and prepared by the ISPTO board. These questions have not been shared with the candidates prior to being asked tonight. We are allowing the audience to submit questions for consideration as well. Please drop off any questions in the basket in the back by 7 p.m. and our team will consider after we review for redundancy and appropriateness. At the end of the event, each candidate will have 1 minute for closing comments. To allow for a broad range of questions, we expect the event to last about an hour, with time after for you to directly meet with candidates at the tables in the back of the room. We want this event to be informative and respectful. We ask for you to hold your applause and reactions until the end of the event to maximize the time to hear from our candidates. At this time, I ask you to please turn off or silence your cell phones and other devices. We thank you for attending and appreciate your cooperation. Our moderator for tonight is Michaela Hunt. Michaela is a seasoned communications leader with a strong foundation in journalism and storytelling. She spent nearly 17 years in TV news, serving as a producer, reporter, and anchor, most recently at NBC4 in Columbus. Today, she is the Chief Communications Officer for the Ohio Department of Commerce, where she leads a team focused on strategic messaging and award-winning brand narratives recognized by PRSA and PR Daily. Michaela also co-hosts CBuzz, a Columbus Chamber podcast highlighting Central Ohio's top business innovators, and What Matters with Mindy and Michaela, a Sunday radio show on iHeartRadio's 610 WTVN. A 2022 graduate of Leadership Ohio and current board member, Michaela was also named one of Business First's 40 Under 40. She actively engages in community efforts as a member of the Hilliard Environmental Sustainability Commission. Michaela lives in Hilliard with her husband and 2 sons and brings both heart and strategic insight to every conversation. I welcome Michaela.
I was talking to, I was talking to the Executive Director of Leadership Ohio before I came here tonight. I said, I'm engaging in some civic activity that you will love. And so I'm really happy to talk with all of you tonight. Tara did a great job introducing me. There's really not more that you need to know other than I have a 13-year-old who goes across the parking lot to Memorial and a 15-year-old who is a sophomore here. So really great to be with all of you tonight and for those who are watching after the fact on social media platforms. So we're going to start tonight with official introductions for the candidates. Each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into about 6 or 7 questions before we take some from the audience, as Tara shared. So we'll begin with introductions. Sarah, if you could go first.
I'm Sarah Byler. First, thank you for having me. And also, I am first a mother of 2 wonderful sons in our district. Jack Byler is in 9th grade at Davidson, and I have a 5th grader at Avery, Charlie Byler. And so I've been in the district for a while. I come from a long background of PTO service, like many of you. So I have served as President at Avery, Vice President at Avery, Secretary at Weaver, and ISPTO rep for Weaver and Avery. So I've been in it for a long time, and that's kind of what brought me into this place. I also was on our levy campaign committee, serving as the communications connector, and put Dave Stewart into 70 of our levy conversations, and those conversations really made a difference in our vote for issue 39. So I was very proud of that work, and I am so excited to bring my passion, my service to the school board, and I believe so much in our strong schools and engaging our community. Thank you so much for having me.
Sarah, thanks. Kara.
Good evening, and thank you so much to the ISPTO for having us tonight, and thank you, Michaela, for coming. My name is Kara Crowley, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the Hilliard City Schools Board of Education and as a candidate up for re-election. I first decided to run in 2021 because I truly believe that our teachers deserve a voice in the decisions that shape our schools. Someone who understands both the challenges our educators face as well as the needs of our students. I've spent 19 years as an educator in Southwestern City Schools, and I'm also a proud Hilliard mom. My daughter and campaign manager, Vivian, is here up front. She goes to Norwich Elementary, and my son Jude is at Weaver Middle School. I'm running for re-election because I believe in our students, our staff, and our community. My goals are simple: advancing academic excellence, leading with partnership, purpose, and integrity, and supporting a culture of belonging and opportunity. Thank you for the chance to be here with you tonight, and I'm grateful for your partnership and support.
Thank you, Kara. Tony?
They're impressed that you were at almost exactly a minute.
Okay, I know you should. I timed myself.
So I too want to thank the ISPTO and for all of you for being out here tonight. My name is Tony Moog, and I'm honored to be running for Hilliard School Board. For over 37 years, my wife and I have called Hilliard home, and it's where we raised our 2 kids. As a proud member of our community, I've dedicated years of service to the schools and the families through my involvement with the Hilliard Education Foundation and the Rotary Club of Hilliard, where I've held leadership positions, including president and vice presidents for both of those organizations. While our kids were in school, I was also active with the school PTOs and booster organizations. And I think these experiences have given me a deep understanding of our students' diverse needs and the importance of strong partnerships between schools, families, and community organizations. I have proudly supported past school levies because I believe investing in education pays lifelong dividends, not just for our students, but for our community's future. When elected, I will continue to champion educational excellence, sound financial management, and transparent decision-making. Together, we can build the best possible learning environment for every student.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Thanks so much to all 3 of you for those introductions. As Tara mentioned, we're going to go through these questions, and each candidate has 60 seconds to respond. We'll rotate who answers first. So question 1, what background and experience do you have that qualifies you to be a school board member? Since beginning your campaign for office, what additional steps have you taken to be prepared for this role? We'll start with Kara.
Well, the reason that I decided to run in the first place was because I found out that not only was there not a working teacher on the school board in Hilliard, but that Hilliard had never had a working teacher on their school board. So that's what motivated me to run in the first place. My experience on the board is serving on several committees. I've been on policy committee, superintendent's advisory, communications, my favorites, ISPTO, the teaching and learning committee, HEF, senior citizens, the PTO booster lunch, the local government liaison. We also had, like Sarah mentioned, the passage of issue 39. We did both our HEA and OPSI contracts. So all of those were learning opportunities for me, and I came in as an educator thinking I knew a lot about education, but I've learned so much in this role. I actually realized, wow, there's a lot that I don't know. And so it's been a wonderful opportunity, and I feel much more prepared going into the second term than I did my first, and I'm just excited to get that work started.
Tony.
My interest in city government, and I do consider school board to be city government, started back when I was on the Hilliard Education Foundation. At the time, Dr. Marshausen was the new superintendent, and he came to our meetings and learned a lot about what was going on in the schools. So my involvement through there is partially why I believe I'm qualified to be here. Having 2 kids come through the schools, I've seen kind of a diverse path for my kids. My son was very involved in the arts. My daughter was very involved in sports, kind of flip-flop of what your stereotypes you'd have through there. But, so we got to experience all from those sides as well. My involvement with the Hilliard Rotary, as I mentioned earlier, we are involved with the schools in multiple different ways. And I'll get to the recent stuff. So I met with Dave, I talked with the school board members and started going to school board meetings as well to kind of get reacclimated into kind of what the schools are doing today.
And Sarah.
Just like in my intro, I started out with PTO experience, and so just being a part of that, it really gets you into the schools, being there a lot and seeing what's going on in the day-to-day. That includes ISPTO and PTO. The levy campaign honestly was one of the most educational experiences for me as far as our district, learning about our money and how it's spent. The transparency that we were able to give to the community also taught me how our district allocates funds, how our buildings are run, the buildings that need to be refurbished or torn down and rebuilt. So all that information was very beneficial for me in learning. I also have been on and off attender of board meetings since 2021, and have recently have made sure to be at every single one in the last about 5 months. And then also I would consider myself asking questions to all that will let me ask them questions. So whether that's Dave Stewart or anyone in the district, I try to do that regularly. And then also being a part of the community. I have a lot of teachers and community members that I'm involved with that I can ask questions to. So.
Next question, our residents are concerned about rising property taxes. That is something we've heard loud and clear in the last few months. In light of the state budget and policy changes that place more burden on local funding, what collaborative approach would you take with our community and state legislators to find sustainable funding solutions and minimize the impact on taxpayers? Tony, we'll start with you first.
Well, I'm glad that question included talking with our state legislature, because I think it starts there. From a right-sizing standpoint, Hilliard gets 65% of our funding primarily through property taxes, and that's got to be fixed because it's not sustainable long term. So we need to advocate for our schools at the State House level. And again, to kind of start there, we also just need to make sure that we're very prudent with how we spend our dollars that we do have currently, to make sure that we don't have to come back to the taxpayers in sooner than 4 years, and hopefully well beyond that, after this last levy that was passed. So I think it starts at the State House, and my plan is to advocate and work with their state legislators to hopefully get some action taken at that level.
All right, next, Sarah.
Yes, our schools are funded primarily by our property taxes, and unfortunately that means levy campaigns almost every 4 years. So first, keeping our promise of every 4 years is very important. I'm very proud of our district and how our finances are spent. It's very transparent, but also we win awards because we are so well, our budget is so well done. It's hard to even budget in our own household within 1%, so I'm very proud of that. But also, yes, as mentioned, the state legislature being able to take the burden off of our property taxes is very important, so advocating at that level is first and foremost to me, but as a board, just making sure that our money is continuing to be budgeted and spent well is important, but also keeping all the programs and the things that we are so proud of in Hilliard is very important. And so I will make sure that we do that, but also, again, yes, advocating and making sure that we have the full funding that we need to keep our schools excellent.
And Kara.
Yeah, so on a similar note, this past year, you talked about in the first question, making sure that we were growing and changing even in this role. And one thing that's happened over the last year is that I've never, in my board experience, done so much work with the legislator, with reaching out, calling, emailing, as I've done this year. That has been a big learning curve here in 2025. Watching the state budget, watching for the vetoes, and advocating for the full funding. In March of this past year, I wrote a resolution that I put on the board agenda for the first time. I had not ever done that. I was the president, and I was like, this is something I really believe in. And that ended up passing in a 5-0 vote, and we were able to send that resolution down to the State House and say that Hilliard, is here, and Hilliard is, demanding that we're fully funded the way that we were promised. We have to give a 5-year forecast, and the budget changes constantly. We're only promised 2 years, and that's been a big issue.
Knowing our district already has a guiding strategic plan and master facilities plan, what is one priority you feel is critical to our district's success that you would champion during your time on the board? Sarah, we start with you.
I just fully believe first and foremost in our portrait of a learner that we have in our forecast. I was on the community design team for the Portrait of a Learner, and so part of that is that we are not only educating our kids in math, science, and reading, but that they also are coming out of our schools as human beings with empathy, with they're resilient learners, they're self-advocates, they're empathetic citizens, and they're purposeful communicators. And these attributes of this Portrait of a Learner are very important to making sure that whatever job or whatever career or military or trade that they choose, that these things will follow them and they will make sure that they can be successful in whichever thing that they choose. And so I believe in all these competencies, and we want to make sure that we have this language continue to be spoken in our schools, and that our students are coming out with these 5 attributes.
Tony?
Oh, I was expecting to go right down the line. So. I think we need to meet our students where they are, just to make sure that we're giving them everything that they need. And not every student's the same. As Sarah mentioned, not every student's going to go on to college, but we need to make sure that they are set up to get out to the workforce right away, or she said, join the military. What you have to there. While they're in the schools themselves, we need an outlet for them to go and feel comfortable, be it a sports team, be it a club that they identify with, so that they can be with people that are like them, and that they feel comfortable going to school and feel safe while they're there. So.
And Kara?
I think it's just the teacher in me, but I'm going to go down the academic standpoint. One of our parts of the strategic plan is the commitment plan, which we have in place. And something that I was so surprised about when I came to Hilliard is that their goal of getting kids to be able to be proficient in reading and math is 100%. And I was like, 100%? That's what kind of goal is that? That would be everybody. And they said, well, if it's only 80%, what 20% are you willing to leave behind? And that made such a shift in me, not just as a board member, but as a teacher. And I was like, I'm not willing to leave anyone behind, and I wouldn't want my child left behind, and parents don't want their children left behind. So our goals of making sure that 100% of our K1 and 2 students are on track for reading, and that early literacy piece is really important, making sure that we have 100% demonstrate proficiency or higher on the literacy and math test for 3rd through 10th grade. And obviously for pre-K through 12, making sure that our students are meeting those objectives is just really important to me, because we're a school and that's why we're here.
As a school board member, question 4, how do you approach balancing the diverse perspectives and sometimes conflicting priorities of parents, teachers, students, and other community members when you're making decisions that affect the school district? Kara, we will start with you.
I'm going to go ahead and quote Leslie Knope when she said, "I just hear the community caring at me loudly." My first 2 years on the board, we had very diverse perspectives, and things were a little bit contentious at times, but I never got away from the fact that these are parents that are showing up because they care about their kids, they're trying to advocate for their kids, and whether I agree with them or disagree with them, at the end of the day, we all just want what's best for kids, and that's why we're here. So I think that the most important thing to do is to get out in the community and listen. We have 3 people running for 3 seats, so I think it's really important that we're still out in the community. We could just be like, oh, we've got this in the bag, but we don't. And we want to listen to our community. We want to talk to our voters. We want to be at doors. We want to ask people how they're feeling about the schools and get a pulse on what's going on in the community. And I think listening is probably the most important thing that you could do.
Sarah.
I would just say that I'm proud that I don't live in an echo chamber, and so I'm proud that I have friends, neighbors that see things differently than me, and we can have conversations and we listen to one another and back and forth. And so I also bring that out to the community, and I'm happy to sit with anyone and talk and to listen. And I believe that no matter where we stand, there's somewhere that we can find common ground. And so I'm willing and able to find that. Also, I believe that, again, as a parent, I believe that every single parent really just wants what's best for their children, no matter what kind of ideology or background that you have. And so having that common ground from the back at the beginning of the conversation really can set us up for success. And so I think that we get out in the community like we've been doing, listening, hearing what they have to say, and again, we want to make the best decision for everyone.
Tony?
So if you go to my website, the first thing I have on there, one of the first things I have is student first decision making, which really encompasses a lot of things. But we are a business up here, and our product is our students. So we need to make sure that we put out the best product that we can to the community. And yes, you're going to have disagreements between parents and students and teachers, what they all need. But again, at the end of the day, the bottom line is that we need to provide to our students what they need, be it the resources that the teachers need to teach them, the parents' involvement and listening to the kids, and again, like I said a little bit ago, making sure that there's a place for every student when they're in school and actually when they leave as well.
Thank you. We're on question number 5, and so again, remember, question number 7 we'll start taking from audience members, so please, if you're in the audience and would like to ask a question, there are cards in the back corner. We would love to have you ask a question. Again, question 5, here we go. So, student needs have evolved significantly in recent years, particularly with the growing number of special education and English learner students in our district. What specific steps should the district take to ensure these students are fully supported, academically, socially, and emotionally, while staying true to its mission of ensuring every student is ready for tomorrow? Tony, we're going to start with you. What do you have to say?
What I have to say is that my daughter's a special education teacher down in Florida. She started the school year, she teaches first and second grade autistic kids. She started the school year with or without an aide in her classroom with these students. She's had 12 and she now has 13. So what I say about that is we need to provide our teachers with the resources that they need to be able to teach those, our special needs kids and our ELL kids. Those environments that she's in down there, occasionally when she's single by herself with those many kids, it's not safe for her, it's not safe for the kids, and it's not good for the community, and it's not providing the services that she should be giving to her students. So, like I said, as I tell people, that won't happen up here on my watch. We'll make sure that we give our teachers what they need to keep themselves safe and to keep their kids safe as well.
All right, thank you. Kara.
This is a great question because, I mean, this is one of the most wonderful things about public schools. We educate every child that walks through our door. So whether they have special needs, whether they're an ELL learner, it doesn't matter. We're here to find a way to help them learn best. I think the most important thing is to make sure that we are tracking the data to find out, who these kids are, making sure that we're figuring out who the kids are, and then being able to offer multiple levels of support for them. So whether that support is in the classroom or that's a pull-out, whether that's an EL teacher, a special ed teacher, but just making sure that we have the resources in place and we have the staff in place, because our staff is our best asset. So our staff, they're trained, they know how to help all kids, and so just making sure that we connect the staff and the students and making sure that we're giving them all levels of support.
And Sarah?
Well, with permission, I am able to share that I have a 5th grader on a reading IEP, and I am a firm believer in the intervention support that we offer in Hilliard City Schools. So as I watch my child being pulled out and being able to see his reading scores go up, and significantly last year, I could get emotional, significantly last year, it is amazing. And then he also has a speech articulation. And so I have seen it, I have been there as a parent with these needs. And so having an intervention and having these services is so important to the learning and to the inclusion of all of our kids, so that they may all have the opportunity to graduate and be ready for their tomorrow. And so the first thing probably with this is also our funding. A lot of these things talked about around levy time, and so we want to make sure that we continue to have these programs in place. And so advocating for funding and also supporting these intervention teachers as they are the backbone of our schools, to make sure that all kids have access to a quality education.
Effective communication, key to building trust and transparency. So the question for this one, number 6, how would you ensure clear, consistent, and two-way communication with the Hilliard community so the residents feel informed and confident that you're truly representing their views on the school board? Sarah, back to you.
So I love this question because this is so important to me. As someone who has emailed a board member and someone who has spoken at a board meeting and as someone who has also been involved with teachers in the district, communication is so key. And so having these communication portals open is so important. And so as a board member, I would say that first of all, informing people on social media has really worked. Being able to have a place for them to go to see what we're up to. So I do have a page, Sarah Byler for School Board, and then also having that email communication open as some, and responding within a timely manner. If I don't have an answer, finding that answer and being able to make sure that I'm responding in fact is so important. But I believe that the community should definitely have access, and as we're doing more with this board, where we're showing up in the community to ask a board member, like at the fair, what is that? Yeah, Hilliard Pride. What was the thing downtown? In the farmers market. That's what the farmers market. Yeah, and Hilliard Pride, and having that opportunity to ask a board member is so important, so that we're making sure that we're accessible to the community. Thank you.
Kara.
Yeah, well, we're lucky we are in the presence of our communications person here tonight. And Stacy, I mean, I won't talk about you the whole minute, but Stacy does such a wonderful job and has got us connected with a group called Parent Square. I have been using it to schedule my conferences. I get, weekly emails. It's just a wonderful tool to be able to communicate throughout the district. And I love that as a parent, so I just wanted to put a plug in for that. Sarah mentioned that I'm the board president, so I get to set the committees, and I had just this past year put myself on the communications committee because I really felt like that committee the issue with it was that people were always coming to us, and people generally only come to us when they're upset. So we were just kind of stuck in this routine where we're only seeing people when they were, are upset or venting frustration, which we love and we support, and please always come and vent to us and tell us your thoughts. But we wanted to get out in the community more, so we've been trying to set up some tents and things out in the community where we can go to them, and that's been a wonderful thing so far.
So going last, you're going to hear some repeated things because I jotted a couple of those down here. But the first thing I have written down here too is starting with the PTOs. I mean, thank you for being here for one. But that's a good way to get it out to the individual schools and let them disseminate that information as well. But I did have that down here too, that it's always a challenge to get the community involved when there's not a crisis or some big event that's going on. So it's always, how do we engage them when things are going well? Sarah mentioned having a booth or some kind of a setup at all the different events. We are individually, we're at multiple events as well, and as people get to know us more, hopefully they'll feel comfortable coming up and talking to us as well. But we got an email over the weekend too from a concerned grandmother, and I made sure I responded to her. I responded today. I was a day or so late, but I was out of town this weekend. But making sure that we're responding to those people who do reach out to us with questions and concerns.
Can I put an ad in for Parent Square? Because I'm going to put an ad in for Parent Square.
Right.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
And for those watching the replay, if you haven't downloaded it, the small percentage that hasn't, because there's a small percentage, because I read Stacy's communications,
Right.
download it, okay? Everything in one place. You don't have to worry about missing emails. Anyway, there's my ad. Thank you for mentioning that. I love it.
I agree.
So does Marcus. All right, so audience questions. We have 4 questions from the audience. I can't wait till I get to the last one. So here's question number 7. You are one voice, but the board makes decisions. Can you speak to your ability to build consensus when your opinion is in the minority? Kara, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, we got this question on the podcast that we were on a couple of weeks ago about, are the 3 of you, you're running together, you're on a slate together, are you just going to agree on everything? And the answer to that is no. We are individual people. We come from very different backgrounds. We have very different opinions about things. So even as a slate together up here, we've already done a lot of consensus building. We value that in each other. Like Sarah said, we don't want to live in an echo chamber. We want to be heard, and just making sure that, you know, everybody feels like their voice is a part of the discussion, and wherever the vote lands, at least everybody feels like they got to be a part of that discussion is important.
Thank you. Tony?
We had a disagreement on consensus tonight about what we were going to wear, and I lost. We're wearing blazers, but we had the discussion about that. So, but seriously, I'm on planning and zoning as well, and you know, we don't agree there on everything. And I've been on the minority on some votes through there. But again, it's all about listening and understanding, and not doing personal attacks to people, but understanding where they're coming from, having them understand where you're coming from, and you come to an overall agreement what you think is best for whatever that decision is being made about. So, and you can't leave feeling hurt or personally attacked about that. You just have to kind of move on and look at the next thing down the road.
And sometimes you can't control the environment.
No, you
Lasers might have been a bad choice.
Right.
As we all
Just
say.
saying.
This was a good choice.
Sarah. Part of being in a community with anyone means that you are going to have some disagreements and things are going to be contentious. And so no matter what, I commit to listen. I commit to make sure that I'm hearing what others have to say. And if I'm in the minority, I want to know why. So I'm going to want to look into the facts. I want to know. I want to do some better research, and I want to see how we can come together and find common ground. And so whether that's on the board or in my own personal life, I always want to make sure that there's some way to come together. And so with the 5 of us, I think that on the board, I think the main goal is that we're doing what's best for the students, the teachers, and the staff. And so as long as that's the vote, then I believe that we can always find some way to find common ground, but also to come together.
What about the district do you want to be different by the end of your term? Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Good question. I want it to be, our goal is to make things better, improve scores, improve student learning as we go. Not that we're in a bad position right now, because we definitely aren't. Andy Teeter, who's a good friend of mine, was on the school board for 12 years, and he said his dad told him, don't screw things up. So my plan is not to screw things up, but to help, again, our district move forward from where we are today. You know, we talked about master's facility plan here earlier. We've got some buildings that are being built, so I'll make sure that those are stay on schedule and that we follow that plan and give the district back what they have given us from a bond and levy standpoint.
Thank you. Sarah?
I have 2 people in the room that actually can put this into place, so I'm just speaking to it. But in the levy conversations, the biggest thing I heard out of over 70 of them from the community is, why don't we do this more? This is so great, because they had access to our district leaders. And so not only were they able to ask questions about the levy and the bond issue, but some of them even were able to come and ask questions about their individual schools or some issue they were having, and no matter what, someone emailed them back. And so having that access to, it's not just the district and the community, it's not just the school board and the community, but we're all in it together is really important to me. And so we've already started that with the booths at Pride and at the farmers market. But I'd love to see that some more through our communications and just being able to engage with them so that they feel like if they have questions, they truly feel like they can find a way to get an answer.
Well, I really wanted the district to be able to have swings, and we got there, so I feel really successful for this term. I'm just joking, but my daughter is a huge fan of the swings. I would say that probably the only thing, I mean, I think that the district is on an incredible path, is just reaching towards those goals of 100. I mean, they're lofty goals and they're incredible goals, and I think that, I mean, this district is capable of that. These educators have been #1 in value added for the last 3 years. That means that they are growing and moving children at a faster rate than any other district in the state of Ohio. These educators, if there's anyone that can accomplish this 100% goal, it's them, and I will strive to that until we get there.
Second to last question from the audience before closing remarks. Question 9. What would you do to increase the diversity of our staff to more closely represent the makeup of our Hilliard students and community? Sarah, we'll start with you.
That's a good question. I believe the diversity is so important, and that the kids in our district should be able to see themselves represented in all the staff and the teachers in our buildings. I believe that the only way to do that is to continue to reach out to colleges, universities around the state, trying to seek out to employ more diverse people, to have a community working with the city where there's affordable housing places for people to come and to make a home here. I believe Hilliard's a great place to live, so being able to advertise that as well to people that might not be from here is important. And so just having those opportunities to reach out and find teachers, again, that represent all of our student body well.
Thank you. Tony.
This is one of the things Dave and I talked about when he and I sat down. A picture of the new teachers had just come out, and I looked at it, and there were less than a handful of new teachers that were identifiable from a visual standpoint of being from the minority standpoint. So it's a challenge. As Sarah said, we need to make sure that we hit the recruiting at the schools from there. But we have the ILC and have an education path through the ILC. So we need to try to encourage our current students that are minorities to look at that path, and then when they're finished with that, to actually come back to our community and provide jobs for them when they're completed their college education.
And Kara.
I agree. I feel like with the teacher shortage, we just have a lot of people that aren't wanting to go into education anymore. We look at these young students coming out of college, and a lot of students of color, when they do graduate, if they do become educators, then they want to go back and serve their own community. And just making sure that our representation matters, like Sarah said. But every year we have the National Merit scholars stand up, and we clap for them, and they always say what they're going to major in and where they're going to go to college. And I just notice every single year that none of them say education, none of them. And I'm like, these are the best, brightest, smartest people in the world, and why don't they want to be teachers? Like, they could give back to their communities in such an amazing way. So I think that that's part of the problem, is that education has become a field where people are leaving in droves, and not a lot of people are signing up to take on this very challenging work.
Our final question from the audience before we get to closing remarks is this. Why do you want to run? And bonus question to that, and one that everyone will be asking given Thursday night's drop, at least half of the district students. What is your favorite Taylor Swift song? So why do you want to run? And what is your favorite Taylor Swift song? And we will start with Kara.
Oh my gosh. I need more than a minute to prepare about my favorite Taylor Swift song. I want to run because I have enjoyed my 4 years on this board so much. I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into 4 years ago. Kelly and I laugh about that all the time. I thought I knew what I was getting into. I did not know what I was getting into, but I have learned so much. I have enjoyed it so much. I have met so many great people that I just cannot imagine walking away from this important work right now. They need an educator on this board more than ever, or on any board, and I love it so much. So my favorite Taylor Swift song depends on the weather, the mood that I'm feeling, what day of the week it is, what season it is. So obviously, that is all depending, but we haven't heard anything from the new album, but Reputation's my favorite album, and right now, I guess, Look What You Made Me Do, because we were dancing to it in the car on the way here, so thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot of insight. Sarah.
Like I said, I want to run because I have been serving in the district and for a long time, and I want to bring that same service and passion to our school board. And I believe that our school board just has so much that we can do to keep our schools excellent, but also to represent our community well. And I'm excited to come together with other community leaders and other people in the community and just make our community the best place that we can make it, and that includes strong schools. And so keeping our schools strong is so important, and I'm just excited to be in this role. Hilliard City Schools is an amazing thing for my two kids. and they will continue to do so. And I'm just excited to support and to be an advocate for our schools. Taylor Swift.
Get to the good part.
I would also agree, because it's a little spicy and fun. The Reputation album is a vibe. So I would agree on that one. But then also to get you through a car ride, it's a whole 10-minute song. So All Too Well. I got about 25 minutes to my house, so I can just listen to that twice, and we're there.
Right. Good choice.
Great rationale. Got it. Tony.
Why? Why did you ask that question? So I'm going to start with the Taylor Swift one, because I don't listen to her very often. I like Taylor Swift, but I don't have a favorite song. I like all of her stuff, so how about that?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Many of you know I ran for city council in the primary and didn't make it through there. And this opportunity presented itself to me. And for me, I'm not a politician, I'm a community servant, so it's a different way for me to serve the community. I come from a long line of teachers. My mom taught school for 41 years. Yes, 41 years. She retired after 35 and came back, rehire for 6 more after that. Like I said, my daughter's a teacher. I've got nieces and nephews, aunts and uncles that are teachers. So it's important to me. To me, schools are the center of a community, and if you don't have good schools, you don't have a good community. So I will make sure that we continue with our schools and make them the best we can.
We appreciate all of you for being here tonight, the 3 of you, to come and share some of your thoughts on these questions. We're going to take a minute apiece right now for closing remarks. And Tony, take that sip of water, and then we will start with you first for closing remarks.
So again, thanks to ISPTO and for all of you for being here. As we said, this year's election is unique. There's 3 candidates up here for 3 seats, but my commitment remains the same. I want to earn your vote. I'll continue to knock doors, attend community events, and most importantly, listen to your concerns. Your voice truly matters, and your support will help shape the future of our schools. I believe my experience and leadership with other organizations in our city will bring great value to the board. Tonight we've covered some of the most pressing issues facing our district, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my vision, which includes encouraging community engagement by actively listening and seeking your input, practicing sound financial management to ensure our tax dollars are invested wisely, and prioritizing student-first decision-making to empower and prepare our students for the future. My name is Tony Moog, and I'm honored to serve the community, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 4th.
We are going down the line for this one, so Kara, go ahead.
All right, as we wrap up tonight, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who made this event possible. A huge thank you to the ISPTO for all your time, energy, and care that you put into supporting our schools, teachers, and students. It truly makes a difference. I also want to thank my husband, so you can tell him I did that, for holding down the fort while I attend so many events and meetings all the time, and for my kids and my family for their love, encouragement, and patience. It takes a village, and I am so grateful for mine. Most importantly, thank you to all of you, parents, teachers, and community members for showing up, for staying engaged, and for partnering with us to ensure every child in Hilliard has the support and opportunities they deserve. Your dedication inspires me every day, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
And Sarah, we'll end with you.
First, thank you so much for having me. Thank you all for coming. I also am just so thankful to be here. I thank my village as well. I'll just be candid. Today, I came from 6 conferences at Davidson. My husband got up on a plane to Dallas at 6 p.m. and 3 people are carting my other child around from his sport activities. So if you want to know how committed that I am to this, I am committed. So we're in it together. My family is very supportive. I'm so thankful. My kids were putting levee signs in front yards last fall. So we're here for it. We're here to do the work, and I'm excited to do it. And I just want everyone to know that I am always going to be available to communicate with. I am happy to answer emails. I am happy to sit down and talk. And I believe that that's where community happens. That's where our schools are going to be strong, is through the communication and conversations that can be had. And so I thank you so much for having me again. I know it's not contested, but I appreciate your vote on November 4th.
Thank you so much. Who of you in the audience are just here tonight independently? Can you raise your hand? Just curious to see. Fantastic. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. For those of you watching this on replay, we appreciate you watching this and learning a little bit more about the candidates. So if you've made it this far, you really have been educated a lot, so we appreciate that. We're going to get a closing from Tara Rowe now from ISPTO.
Thank you for attending tonight's Meet the Candidates event, or for watching the recording. Wanted to recognize and pass along our thanks before we leave tonight. Thank you to our candidates for participating and sharing with our community. Thank you to Michaela Hunt for joining us tonight and doing a great job moderating the event. Thank you to Mark Dudgeon, Jeremy Taylor, and our district operations team. And thank you to my fellow board members and volunteers from Hilliard ISPTO for your help organizing and running the event. Great job, timekeepers. At the back of this room, the candidates have tables set up where you can talk with them and get more information about their campaign. Feel free to visit them after we wrap up. If you plan to vote, please be aware of the following dates. Tuesday, October 6th is the deadline to register to vote. Early voting starts on Wednesday, October 7th. If you're planning to vote via absentee ballot, please verify deadlines for applications and submitting to the Board of Elections. Election day is Tuesday, November 4th. We appreciate your engagement with Hilliard City Schools. We encourage you to go vote. Thank you and good night.